Hello, sixth graders. So we have already spent some time together. By the time you're going to be watching this, today you're mostly going to be doing things in Otus. And I keep saying today. I don't know why. So anyway, happy Friday. After you get through these different Otus tasks and things like that, you'll have the rest of your day of school, and then you are free for the weekend. So our book talk today is one that Nathan's been reading. It is The One and Only Bob. I just finished reading this, and someone's already requested it, so sorry. But it is in the book order. By the way, the book orders are due by Tuesday, so please go ahead and get on that. Look over them this weekend. Show your parents. I've only had one order turned in for our class, so your chances of winning the raffle are pretty good right now. Okay, so The One and Only Bob. A lot of you have read The One and Only Ivan, so this is from Bob the dog's perspective. Totally different book, but really good. It's super funny. Bob's hilarious. There's some adventure and things like that. Ivan and Ruby are in it. I would not really consider them main characters though, but they're definitely in it. But it was just a very enjoyable read. Again, different from Ivan, but really just as good. So highly, highly recommend it. It's just really a feel-good, cute book. Okay. Loved the ending too. I will say that. So today we have already done social studies. We talked today in class about the different characteristics, the IB traits of the hunters and gatherers. So if you have not already, you need to finish that in Otus, okay? It says it was due yesterday. When I assigned it, I put that it was due yesterday because I changed my mind, which I do a lot, about how I wanted to structure it. It's not late if you turn it in today. I understand that it was due yesterday, so if you get it in by midnight tonight, it will not be considered late. So get that finished, and you can definitely take the ideas that you heard in class today and the ideas that we shared. You are also going to take a hunter-gatherer adaptation assessment in Otus. For this assessment, you can use your book, your textbook. You can use your notes. You cannot go searching the answers on Google, though. And that's something that when I was grading some of your other things last night, I saw that some people were doing. You are not allowed to Google the answers to your assessments. You may use your book. You may use your notes. You may not use Google. Okay. Moving on, language and literature. Again, in Otus, we are going to take the flipped assessment. We practiced this earlier. It's about how different things happen. There's an incident and a response to that, so that should be familiar to you. So you're going to go into Otus, take the flipped assessment. Again, you may use your Springboard book to help you. Once you have clicked the assessment, please press submit. If it doesn't look like it was turned in, then I'm not even going to look at it or grade it. So make sure you have turned your things in. All right. So after you've taken finished up those three things in Otus, it is time to read Boy of the Painted Cave. So again, the PDF is right there. We left off on chapter 9. So I'm going to go ahead and read that as you follow along. We are starting on page 82. And remember, if you needed a moment to get your book out or whatever, you can always push pause on me. Okay, chapter 9. The days were growing warmer as the sun climbed high into the heavens. The open valley was a sea of waving grass with scattered clumps of birch and willow trees, thick with new green and yellow leaves. Slowly, some of the great game herds came back, grazing and browsing across the land. Antelope and deer came first, wandering in small family groups, followed by bands of horses, the mares and colts grazing under the watchful eyes of the stallions. The roving herds of animals increased and filled the land. The hunting was good now, and the clan had plenty to eat. There were many new hides, too, and the women sat around the fire beneath the cliffs, sewing boots, leggings, and robes to replace the worn-out clothing of the year before. As Graybeard suggested, Tal began studying the animals more closely. He watched the loons and the great white swans feeding on the lake in the early morning mist. Twice he saw a cave lion stalking across the valley, its tawny coat blending with the buff meadow grass. Together with Ram, he climbed the rocky passes to see the horned ibex and the mountain rams standing sentinel on the snowy peaks. Then one morning he took Ram up to the top of the cliffs. There they looked out over a sweeping plateau of high plains. It stretched beyond the horizon, and not far away Tao saw Saxon, the sacred bull. Heavy-bodied, thick-shouldered, and sturdy, Saxon looked like a huge black monster standing in the middle of the plains. His eyesight was poor, but his sense of smell was keen, and he soon picked up the man scent as it drifted down to where he was standing. His head came up, and Tao saw the long, curved horns, white in the morning sun. In spite of his size, Saxon turned quickly, tossing his head, bellowing. Then he charged. Tao saw him running toward them, snorting and blowing. Quickly, Tao grabbed the wolf dog by the scruff of the neck and led him up to the top of a rim rock, a small mound of limestone standing near the edge of the plains. Here they were safe from the great black bull, pawing the dust below them. Tao looked down at the huge bulk of the animal. He saw the play of the powerful muscles under the shiny black hide. He cringed at the sight of the flashing white horns, and he saw the angry fire burning in the dark, piercing eyes. Now Tao understood why this beast had been chosen as the caretaker of tribal laws. Anyone, man or woman, who broke the taboos of the clan was brought up on the high plains to face Saxon, the sacred bull. Given a spear and a flint knife, they were forced to battle the savage brute. If they lived, it was proof that they had done no wrong. No, none ever did. The scattering of sun-bleached bones lying across the plains told the story. Tao held Ram tight as the wolf dog growled. "Stay," he said. "We have no quarrel with Saxon. We come only to look." Tao dropped to his knees, studying the powerful beast. "Saxon," he thought, "you are bigger than I am, and you are stronger, but I will capture your image on my stone." He took out a broad, flat slate that he had brought with him. Then he sat down on the rim rock, his legs dangling over the edge, and began sketching a picture of the great bull. He tried to catch the heavy body, the strong neck and shoulders, and the massive head. His flint tool cut deep, scoring bold white lines on the gray slate. Saxon grazed alone now, but soon the cows and yearlings would come back, and he would once again be lord of the high plains. When Tao had finished his drawing, he blew off the dust and held up the stone. "Yes," he said to himself, "that is good. That is the beast I want." He looked down at Saxon, then threw back his head and laughed. "Go," he said. "Go back to your stomping grounds and wait for your cows. I have your spirit carved on my stone." Saxon grew tired of waiting. He tossed his great head and trotted off across the plains. Tao and Ram climbed down from the rim rock and returned to their little cave. Here, Ram lay down in a corner while Tao quickly began copying his picture of the bull. With a piece of yellow clay, he made a large outline on the cave wall. Then, studying his sketch, he began drawing line for line, sketching in the muscular shoulders and the deep chest. Next, he started the head with its long, curving horns. He drew easily, freely, watching his picture come alive as he filled in the details. It felt good to be working with the smooth, flowing chalk, and he forgot to eat. He was drawing quietly when he heard the wolf dog growl. He looked down to see if Ram was dreaming, but the wolf was wide awake, getting to his feet. Tao put down his sketch. He could feel the sweat break out on his neck. "What is it, Ram?" The wolf dog went to the entrance, sniffing and growling. Tao waited, listening. Then he heard the clattering sound of falling dirt and pebbles. His heart beat fast. Someone was climbing up the face of the cliff. Ram growled again. "Be quiet," whispered Tao. The sound of the climbing continued. Tao looked down at his drawing of Saxon on the cave wall. It was the best he'd ever done. But quickly he reached down and picked up a handful of soot and moss and rubbed out the image. Then he gathered up all the chalk and charcoal together with his slate and hid them under the bearskin robe. He sent Ram to the back of the cave and made him lie down in the darkness. Silently, Tao crept to the entrance and peered out. He saw no one, yet the sound of falling stones came closer. The wolf dog whimpered. "Quiet, Ram," Tao repeated. He glanced around the cave. If the climber was Volt or one of the hunters, he would find no trace of drawings or clay sticks. The boy pressed himself against the damp wall, gripping his spear tightly. Then he saw fingers reach out, grasping the side of the entrance. It was an old, weathered hand, gnarled and wrinkled. Tao heard a deep hacking cough, and he felt a wave of relief. It was Graybeard. A moment later, the old man stepped into the mouth of the cave. He was breathing heavily, and he leaned back against the wall as he tried to catch his breath. Ram came out of the darkness and sniffed at the old man's sandals. "We are happy to see you again," said Tao, "and we are glad you are not one of the hunters." Graybeard smiled. "I came from above," he said, his voice wheezing. "Only now I find I cannot climb as well as I used to." He stopped again to catch his breath. "I go to the camp of the mountain people, and I thought to stop here for the night." "We have food and water," said Tao, "and you are always welcome." The boy put some wood on the fire, then speared chunks of salmon on long sticks and broiled them over the hot flames. They did the same with parts of a duck that Tao had caught the day before. After their meal, they ate dried ground plums and drank cockle shells full of birch tea. When they had finished, Tao picked up the bearskin robe, uncovering the chalk sticks and the sketch of the bull. "I have seen Saxon," he said. "I was drawing his image when you came." Graybeard looked at the slate stone, studying the sketch. "This image is good," he said. "Now try again, and I will watch." Slowly, Tao picked up one of the chalks. His hand shook, and he knew it was because he was working in front of the master. He began to draw the head and body, but when he came to the legs, his hand would not obey. Once again, he felt anger, and for a moment he wanted to throw the chalk against the wall. "You must be patient," said Graybeard. "The eye and the hand will learn to become one, but it takes time." He took the chalk from Tao and dropped it on the floor of the cave. Then he picked up a stick of charcoal and started to draw, showing the boy how to join the legs to the shoulder and hips. Tao watched closely. When he finished, the old man rubbed out the drawing with a handful of moss. He handed the charcoal to Tao. "Now start over," he said. "The black will make a better outline, and this time do not trust your memory, but let your hand be guided by the lines on your sketch." Tao took the charcoal and started again. Line by line, he drew another picture of the bull as Graybeard looked on. The old man nodded. "Ah, yes," he said, "that is good. You are learning. Draw as much as you can, but always remember to rub out your pictures when you are through." "Maybe you will teach me often," asked Tao. "I will learn more quickly that way." The old man shook his head gruffly. "You press too hard, boy. I tell you again, you are not a chosen one. I have already done more than I should." Tao knew he had angered the old man again. He spoke under his breath. "I did not think you believed in taboos." But the old man heard him. "That may be," he snapped. "Yet even a shaman must obey the laws of the clan and accept the beliefs of the people." He tugged at his beard. "I have given you permission to draw. I am sorry you do not think that is enough." He rubbed his eyes at the back of his hands. "Now, let us sleep. Tomorrow I have a long way to go." Tao's face felt hot. He had not meant to, but he had offended the master. The next morning, Graybeard and Tao went out across the valley. The grazing herds of antelope and horses raced away at their approach. They walked all morning, and when they came to the river, the old man stopped. He looked down at the boy, a thin smile on his lips. "I have changed my mind," he said. "Perhaps the old shaman has become a fool, but I will help you." Tao looked up, his eyes wide. "Yes," said Graybeard, "I will come back and show you how to draw and paint. I will show you how to mix colors and make brushes. I will tell you how to find firestones and how to read the stars." Tao was dazed. He hardly knew what to say. "You would show me how to make magic?" "Yes, and that too. But you must use it for good, never for evil." Tao nodded. "Only for good," he said. "Then I will show you. But I cannot tell you that you will ever be a chosen one." Tao felt a warm glow of hope. Never did he think that such good fortune would be his. "We must do this thing in secret," said Graybeard. "I will find a hidden place. Then you and Ram will come." "When?" asked Tao. "Where will this place be?" The old man shook his head, frowning again. "You must not push so hard. Have patience. When I am ready, I will let you know." "But how will I find you?" "By magic," said Graybeard, his blue eyes shining. Tao did not wish to anger the man again, yet he did not want to lose his chance. "And I will know the magic?" Graybeard smiled. "When the time is right, you will know." "But—" The old man held up his hand. "No more questions now. I have a long journey. I will go downstream and cross the river at the shallows. There you cannot follow." Graybeard walked away, hunched over, coughing badly. Tao watched him disappear through the trees. He knelt down and threw his arm around the wolf dog's shoulders. "Think of it, Ram. Soon I will be a true image maker." All right. So that was chapter 9. So now you guys are going to go back to Otus. It's an Otus party today. And you are going to answer the chapter 9 questions in Otus, and then you are going to submit them because those are the last ones. So make sure you do that, please. And then you are also going to complete your weekly checkout in the assessment section and submit. And then you'll be done and ready to relax on your weekend. So have a beautiful weekend. I am going to be working quite a lot over the weekend on grading and such. It does take time. I read things carefully. So please just have patience, but I'm working on it. Have an amazing, beautiful day. I will see you Monday.